Start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour, where demonstrations against the controversial security bill continue to take place in the French capital of Paris for the third successive weekend, with thousands of people taking to the streets of Paris on Saturday. Widespread rallies were fueled by the public outcry against police's heavy-handedness and its brutality in the past several incidents, and also over the proposed controversial security bill that puts curbs on freedom of expression on French citizens. The police also stepped up its action against the trouble elements in the otherwise peaceful protests and arrested at least about 150 people on Saturday. This after the last two Saturdays turned out to be extremely violent and the shop owners suffered vandalism. So this is what the scene looked like in central Paris, with people extremely unhappy against this controversial legislation that's being pushed forth by Emmanuel Macron. There were protests that were also reported in other French cities such as Lyon in the southeast, where authorities have reported at least about 5 arrests among people who supposedly, this is what the police claim, attacked the police and sought to loot shops. Now, as the night fell, the police also resorted to using water cannon in the extremely cold weather in central Paris to try and disperse the crowd.
Et aujourd'hui, le pouvoir, avec cette nouvelle loi sécurité globale et la loi séparatisme également, prépare finalement une contre-offensive contre tout le mouvement social et toute expression populaire, en cherchant à justement diminuer les possibilités de cette expression populaire. Et donc forcément aujourd'hui c'est un rendez-vous immanquable pour nous, puisque on est là pour défendre nos droits et surtout les droits de s'exprimer. Je pense que
Now, according to reports, the demonstrations attracted nearly about 60,000 people from across the country. Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin tweeted that several hundred thugs had also come out to commit violence. This is how the French Interior Minister has been describing these protesters who are out on the streets, demanding that the government should take back the controversial legislation. But the Interior Minister further added that the authorities are now working on a robust strategy against the thugs, as the French Interior Minister is now describing the protesters. The protests have been mainly sparked by this very controversial security bill, which President Emmanuel Macron, who's in all kinds of problems over the course of the last several months, has argued that it is what is the need of the hour, and he claims it is needed to protect police personnel and their families from harassment and threats. But believe it or not, the contentious bill aims to outlaw the publication of images or videos with the intent, it says, of causing harm to the police. However, critics argue that the security bill, which has been adopted by the lower house of the parliament, will make it almost impossible for journalists and other citizens to document cases of police brutality and police heavy-handedness, and will lead to a curb on both civil liberties and also police accountability. Now, under this new controversial law covering a protest and also police action, for instance, in a protest like this, would become illegal, where a person could actually be charged for flouting this controversial security law in France. Many people say that that would be the end of freedom of expression in the French nation. Now, Macron, for his part, still insists that the bill will not curb press freedom and that journalists will be able to actually go ahead and still do their jobs, although they would not be allowed to show any footage of a police personnel, no matter what the police personnel is doing at that point of time. Now, the footage of 3 white policemen beating up an unarmed black music producer in his own Parisian studio on the 21st of November went viral and sparked outrage. It also amplified the anger over the legislation. Now, an incident like this would now become illegal to be filmed. This was CCTV footage in which 3 white police personnel were seen assaulting and beating up a black music producer, and this was his state after that assault.
Préparez-vous parce qu'il y a beaucoup de médias, hein, je vous le dis. Il y a beaucoup...